Today, we think of nail art as fun and pretty, but originally it was a scare tactic. Around 3200 BC, Babylonian soldiers would reportedly stain their fingernails with green and black coal as a way to intimidate their enemies. But about 200 years later, ancient Chinese noblewomen started using nail polish the same way we do now, because it's cute. So to color their nails, they would soak their hands in a combination of beeswax, egg whites, gum arabic, and gelatin, as well as dye from orchids and roses. So for the next few thousands of years in China, each dynasty would have a favorite shade of nail color. The Zhou dynasty loved gold and silver, while the Ming dynasty preferred red and black. And over in Egypt, Cleopatra was obviously super into nail polish too. Even though her predecessors, like Queen Nefertiti, supposedly used henna to color their entire hands, it's said that Cleopatra was among the first Egyptians to paint only her nails. The common thread here is that in ancient civilizations, nail polish was generally only allowed to be worn by the upper classes. There were restrictions on the colors you could wear depending on your social status, and there are even reports of people being executed for wearing nail polish when they weren't supposed to. But nail polish as we know it today didn't really become a thing until nearly 2,000 years later, in 19th century France. This was at a time in the Western world when having well-manicured hands was becoming increasingly important. It showed you lived a life of leisure and glamour, and that's when manicuring became an actual job. By the 1870s, the first nail salons opened in Paris and New York. They would use oils and buffers to make nails shiny and clean-looking. But it wasn't until 1917 that the American company Cutex invented the first liquid nail polish, which was actually made from car paint finish. But the problem was that since Cutex made its nail polishes out of dye, it could only ever be red. And so in 1932, Revlon debuted its very first product, a nail polish made of pigments rather than dyes, so that it could come in virtually infinite shades. And obviously, in the nearly 100 years since then, we've made great use of that invention, from shiny disco nails in the 70s to those kind of unfortunate square bejeweled nails in the 2000s. And I'm sure whatever we come up with next will be even weirder.